Hello everybody, this is Oak Tree Tarot Reader here and welcome to my Pick a Card video. I'd like to say thank you to everybody that's been leaving me all these lovely comments on my other videos. Everybody that has subscribed to my channel, I'm quite surprised I've got so many of you and it's wonderful to see you all join me. And everybody that has watched my other videos and actually everybody that's currently watching this one. Now today we are going to be looking at starting a new cycle in our lives. So those of you watching this are most likely have realised or actively made the decision that something is coming to an end in their life, that you're closing one door and ready to open another one. So this could be generally in your life that you're just realising a few things need to change, just some small things, attitudes, mental thought processes. Others of you it's going to be relationships, and that could be love relationships like marriages, or it could be family relationships need to change, or friendships. And others of you it's to do with your working life, literally a career or the businesses that you work for. It can be any of those things. So what I want you to do is remember that in this reading, it's going to be so generalised that you really need to take the advice that's offered and apply it to your life as you see fit. You know, not everything's going to make sense exactly to your life, but something might be there in a reading that you feel will help you on your journey. Help you understand what you're leaving behind and what you can move forward into. So yeah, so just bear that in mind. Now we've got option 1, option 2 and option 3. I'm going to put the timestamps to each of these 3 readings in the description box below, along with my email address in case any of you want to email me to find out how much I charge for private readings and what I will and won't do. And I'll also put my Instagram account there in case any of you would like to follow me. But otherwise we shall move on to the readings. So I want you to take a deep breath, think about the cycle that you're leaving and the possibilities offered in your new journey. And I want you to close your eyes, focus on the 3 sets of cards and make your choice. Please don't doubt yourself. Trust your instincts. Don't think that there's a better option in one of the other sets. Just trust the set that you are really attracted to. If you need a little bit more time, then please press pause, because otherwise I'm going to be moving on to the first reading. Okay, those of you that chose option 1, this is your reading. So these 3 cards represent what's finished from before. This is what you want to leave behind, and you can leave it behind because you've either learnt the message, learnt the lesson, or you recognise that it's not good for you and you want for it to be over, finished and done with, done and dusted. So what we've got is Temperance, 4 of Swords and 3 of Cups. Okay, so this is very much a cycle about healing and reflectiveness, and it's to do with the people that you associate with. 3 of Cups, it's friendship. It's not the people that that feel like family are family, but specifically the people that feel like brothers and sisters to you. These are the people probably that you socialise with, spend a lot of time with, but they're not quite the people that you feel that are like blood brothers, blood sisters, soul mates, soul circle, whatever, soul group, that's what I was trying to think of. They're just they're your friends, and they're good friends, and you enjoy the time you spend with them. But I feel for this reading, they're not quite like top tier connections. You might be with them for work, some of you, or that they are your friends. And you know, I'm just trying to think that when you're at school, you have the people that you were friends with, but you sort of hang around with each other because those are the people that you're at school with. And then when you leave and you go off and you go, maybe some of you to university, or you start working and you change and you grow and mature, you find a different set of friends that are perhaps sometimes more in line with who you are as a person. So for some of you, it's that kind of journey that we're talking about. Others of you, maybe you've found a new set of friends in a new location that you've moved to for, you know, for whatever reason, or that they're the friends of your partners, some of you, whether you wouldn't choose to be around them, but your loved one is very good friends with them. And anyway, these are the issue. You're leaving some sort of friendship behind, or you're actively deciding it's time to leave them behind for whatever reason. And you've really come to your own mind about this. You really retreated to think about it. You might have had lots of other swords, you know, their words, their thoughts coming in at you. But you've been really focused on your own. He's got one hand on this sword, which represents his mind and his thoughts. So there might be a difference of opinion between you and this group of people, or whatever it represents. It can be close friendship or actually work friends. And you're sort of maybe on the surface agreeing and nodding along and saying, yeah, sure, I can see that point, you know, and you might be able to agree with them on some level, but deep down you are not sharing your own thoughts with them because it's different to theirs. So to keep the peace, yeah, I agree, we can, you know, yeah, we'll go to this place, yeah, we'll do that, yeah, let's visit that bar, or sure, I'll come with you to travel to that place, or I do think that for the project to succeed, we need to do this. But deep down, you might have privately thought, I don't agree, and I'm not sure this is the right thing to do. And I think that this one sword has now become the dominant. Your own thoughts, your own mind have come forward and are now cutting away these three swords. You've basically found balance, possibly between what they want and what you want, between your voice and theirs. But I wonder whether you have come to the conclusion that your decision making is the more important. Some of you are possibly not willing to compromise anymore for this thing because you've found balance. You've completed the journey of temperance, which is healing, balance, peacefulness, calm, being able to blend two things together, mixed emotions, mixed thoughts, so on and so forth. You've balanced yourself and healed yourself from something, because as I said, I felt that there's retreating here, mentally retreating in order to heal, because that's what he is doing. He's having a break from battle in order to recharge his batteries and sort of process it, think it all through. And I feel that's what you've done. And now that bit's finished. So I believe that most of you have come to a conclusion of some sort about what this journey is. And you feel good about it. It's healed you. You feel calm and at peace with it. So these three cards represent the next stage of your life, the next journey cycle, however you want to describe it. This is what you can decide to focus on, what's on offer for you to look into and explore. And we have the Wren, which is the page of arrows, another arrow, dedication, 9 of arrows, and third one, frustration, 5 of arrows. So again, this is very much about thoughts and words. So some of you are really, I feel, gaining independence, discovering your own voice. You're not afraid to be unique, to march to the beat of your own drum, to go it alone in some cases. It doesn't mean that friendships are going to dissolve or will. It just means that you're going to perhaps distance yourself a bit from what that represents and be very independent and focused. Because we have the Wren, which is obviously a lovely little birdie. And this really is about being observant and about being dedicated and about really paying attention. Even in at its worst, the Wren is nosy. But little birds must be observant, and they must pay attention, and they must strategize and think things through, because if they rush ahead and drink out of this water and there's a giant hawk or a neighbour's cat just waiting there to leap on it, they'll die. So they've got to be careful before they jump on the bird table and peck away at the seed, because there could be pitfalls for them. And this is why they are the quiet observer, because they don't want to draw attention to themselves. So there's something that you need to pay attention to within yourself, or I'm going to say in your outer world. So if there's anything like negotiations, you need to pay attention to what the other side are saying and wanting in the negotiation. And it's the same with signing a contract. Pay attention to what's going on in the paperwork or anything like that, where it's something that you've just, you don't want the wool pulled over your eyes, so you've just got to pay attention in some way to something, and that might be your inner journey or something going on in that you actively think, actually I should be paying a bit more attention to the details I didn't before, because you're going to be really dedicated to what you say and what you think and the journey that you're on, what you want to achieve. This young lady is really focused on where she's going. She's paying attention. Remember, observing, paying attention to where she's walking. So it's about the decisions that you make, about where you're gonna, if you do this, where will you end up? What will it take you towards? But she's dedicated to it, but she's still on some level defending behind her. You know, she's firing an arrow behind her. She's not, you know, she's not like this man, you know, taking aim. She's just, you know, not worried about it. She will just fire an arrow behind her. She must be quite reassured that it's going to hit something. But I believe that these arrows are not coming from her outwards, but in this particular reading is that these arrows have been shot towards her. These are like these ones, these swords, thoughts, words being shot towards her, and she's just deflecting them. She's not letting them bother her or stop her from her journey. You know, there's an invisible shield that's sort of bouncing them off her, because she doesn't need to listen to what anybody else says or thinks. She's got her own mission to complete, and she's dedicated to it. And that's what you're going to have the opportunity now to do, to focus on yourself or something that you want to achieve, something that's important to you. We also have frustration. So yes, there might be moments of frustration on this journey, but that's nothing new. There's always moments of frustration when you do anything in life, whatever it is. I don't feel that you are this sort of poor sap here that can't manage to hit the ram. I think you're the ram. I think you're the ram that's running ahead, again, like this young lady, missing all of the words and thoughts flung at you. I think you're the one, you're the ram running ahead going, haha suckers, you missed me, ha, you can't catch me, and you're just going along, you know, jog on, I'm off, you know. And the ram seems to have a bit of a smirk, but maybe that's just my mind reading that. You know, you're not him, you're the ram. And that's the way it should be. You shouldn't let anything hold you back from doing what you believe is right and is true and what is good for you. There's just a lot of independence here. People are really discovering their own independence in this reading. And I love to see that you're finding your own truth. This is really, really good to see. And the only thing that I'm really cautioning you against is really pay attention to something. You've really got to observe what's going on around you, to not let it stop you, but pay attention to something in your life, whatever it is, or just generally be a bit more observant and looking around you a bit more. And this might be because if you decide to drop a set of friends, you're going to want to meet some new people to socialise with and to have friendships with, which are so important in life. So those of you that chose option 1, that's your reading. I really wish you all the best of luck in your new journey. Please take very good care of yourself. Let me know in the comment section if this has helped you or resonated in any way. I wish you all the best of luck, and thank you very much for listening to me. Bye. Right, those of you that chose option 2, here is your reading. So these 3 cards here represent what you've left behind, what you are leaving behind. in this old cycle or you actively want to. These are going to be lessons that you've learned and that they're no good for you anymore. You need to let them go. And we have Six of Swords, okay. Ace of Wands. Ooh, Two of Cups. Okay. That's interesting. So, some of you have been travelling a lot because it's the Six of Swords. Or what you've done is been avoiding something. You've been running away from something. Some of you. This could be a thought you don't want to acknowledge, or a way that you're denying something within yourself, maybe. Sometimes people deny things that they really want. Sometimes people deny that they're behaving very badly. And sometimes people just constantly move on. Rather than sticking around and sorting out all the mess, they constantly, okay, this isn't working, I'm off. And that might, for some of you, manifest as constant travel. You're constantly moving from one location to another, sort of getting work in new cities. It's, about, I'm trying to think of the way to describe it. It's not like you're fleeing, it's just like, okay, I want a fresh start, so I'm going to go. But you're constantly giving yourself fresh starts. You're always thinking that across the sea, the grass is greener. That you're always, looking for what's the next best thing. You're always following your passions. What's exciting to you? It's the Ace of Wands, so it can be sex. So, and the reason I'm going to include that will become clear, but it's about a new passion, and sometimes it's about sex. So you might constantly move to chase, to follow the people that you're sexually attracted to, because we've got the Six of Swords, Ace of Wands and Two of Cups. So for a lot of you, fall in love too easily, too quickly. You rush through a relationship, and you move in with the other partner too quickly. So it doesn't have to be a proper sort of massive relocation like to another country, although some of you might have relocated to another country for someone that you love, even though you don't know them very well. Or you've just had an initial sexual attraction that's sort of like, wow, this is so hot, I've got to be with them. And Two of Cups is about initial attraction. It's sort of boyfriend, girlfriend card. It's sort of getting to know you. It's the shared emotions. And I mean, it can extend outside of love to business. So some of you, this isn't about a love relationship, but you're constantly moving on to new passions and trying to build connections with people, but in terms of your career. But you're needing to leave this behind, and you're ready to leave it behind. So whichever way it resonates, love, sex or business, it doesn't matter. You are ready now to stop it. But I do feel very strongly that this is more about people constantly chasing after love and sex. Changing your mind. You might be going for lots of different partners, some of you. You can't say that you have a particular type, maybe. So this might represent an actual relationship. This might represent an actual relationship, or it might represent just the way you've had relationships in the past. It could be just an amalgam of your previous partners. Or the person, maybe you have been literally going for the wrong type of partner, that you've been following, who you find sexually alluring, passionate sex, great sex and everything, and it's all been about that. That's been the foundation maybe of this connection. But either you're ready, or you're acknowledging that this hasn't been good in some way. That maybe this is why there's been lots of movement. So you might have moved literally for one person, because you fancy them, or you might have been exploring this through lots of previous partners, and this is sort of a potted love history of yours. Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad thing to fancy someone and pursue them and sort of say, oh, I really want this. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So don't think, oh, you've done the wrong thing. It's just that it's not been good for you in the past, and you're sort of recognising that you've been looking for love in all the wrong places. It's a good way of doing it. But yeah, some of you have been moving too much, travelling too much, going from one place to the other too much, and it might generally just not be good for you, and you're sort of, I'm fed up of it. I'm fed up of moving every couple of years. You don't want to do that anymore, some of you. And some of you have had a passion and it's been completed. And others of you are ready to end a relationship that you once felt passionate about and you don't anymore. And that's the end of the cycle. And that's what you've got to leave behind. That's what's being left behind. These are the things then that you can move towards, that you can embrace. So we've got 10 of Stones, home. How weird is that? Oh my God. Okay. 2 of Vessels, 2 of Cups, attraction. 2 of Bows, decision. Crikey. I'm trying to remember if bows are wands in this deck. I've got a funny feeling they are, you see. Right, the door went, so I had to go and answer it, obviously, but I took the chance of looking up that card, and it is the 2 of Wands. The fire was a big clue, but I thought I must double check before I tell you. Basically, yes, 10 of Stones, home. It's the 10 of Pentacles, really. You're going to be focused more on home. So some of you, this will be a yearning for your homeland. You know, if you have been away from home for a few years and travelling, you are going to now start thinking about going back home to settle down. Others of you, where that's not true, it's more that you constantly want a fresh start and move and start new relationships all the time, or whatever, or thinking the grass is greener. You're going to start taking love more realistically and realise that if any relationship is ever going to work, you need to invest in it. You need to put down roots and allow them to grow. So it might be just taking the idea of a marriage and a family and home considerably more seriously than you have been. You're growing up, basically. This is what's happening. You're going to be growing up and maturing. However this was, it was slightly immature. Not to say that you're immature, but your experiences, I believe, of love were immature and not necessarily very grounded. But there is still new love to be found. So for some of you, you might recognise this as an attraction that you currently have. Somebody that you want to share mutual feelings with, that you fancy, and you want to get to know them. You remember, it's an attraction. It's attraction at first sight. You really connected with this person on some level, and you want to try and ground it and establish it into something deeper, maybe to create a home with them. Others of you where it doesn't really resonate as an actual person, you want someone like that, that you can meet, that you are attracted to them, they're attracted to you, which is what it will be, because it's the 2 of Vessels, it's shared emotions. They both share and, you know, passion in their heart and pouring the emotions into the cup. So if you do fancy this person, it's most likely that they fancy you back, by the way, on some level. Even if neither of you know each other very well, there's going to be some sort of attraction there, even if you think, how could that be? But anyway, it doesn't matter. But for others of you, you just want to meet someone like this, that you can feel the spark. You know, you're romantics, I believe. I think the people in number 2 are romantics, maybe secret romantics, where you don't think it's necessarily possible, that you don't think that maybe it will happen, but actually it is going to happen for you at some point, just as you change what you were doing before and change into something better. And I think it's to take it much more seriously in a more solid, earthy way. But yeah, there is possibility of love in this new journey for you, even if it doesn't seem likely at the moment. Yeah. So 2 of Bows, decision. So you've got to actively make the decision. I'm not saying that you were avoiding commitment or decisions before, but what this represents is that you've got 2 passions. So for some of you, because there's the 2 of Cups both times, this might represent one potential partner or partner. This could represent a potential partner or a partner that you would desire. So if you've embarked in a relationship that you've moved towards and travelled towards, and it's all been about sex and attraction, and it's not got any further, and what you want is a home, you don't have to stay in a relationship that doesn't satisfy you on many levels. I mean, I think it's going to be pretty difficult, very difficult to find somebody that's going to satisfy you 100%. It's just not likely. What you do is you meet somebody that's wonderful enough for you that you will deal with the other aspects of them that drive you insane. But this person, it's beyond that. It may be that they make you happy 30% of the time, and 70% of the time you're not really fulfilled. Whereas what you want is something more than that, I would say, and that's rooted in home. You might be ready to start a family, say, and this person might not be right to start a family with, or maybe they are not ready to. So this is the decision, that it might be partner A and partner B. And you do have a choice here. And sometimes I hear from people of, oh, the choice, it's so difficult. But trust me, it's a million times better to have the choice yourself, where you can actively choose for yourself, than having the choice made for you and having an option that you don't want forced upon you. But you do have choices. You have freedom and choices. You have the option between 2 passions. At some point, this man must let go of one and focus on one of the ones and let the other one turn to ashes. And that's what you are going to focus on in this next part of your life. Some of you, it's really about discovering who you want the attraction to be with. You know, we can't help who we're sexually attracted to. If you do have a type, that's it. But you can find someone that's sort of your type, but so much more. That's somebody that's definitely on your wavelength, but still sexually attractive to you. Yeah. But also remember, if it's very much about sex, and that is important to so many people, it doesn't mean that the sex life can't be improved upon if it doesn't seem that way initially. For others of you, you might find that because it's moving from Ace of Wands to 2 of Wands, and this is why I wanted to make sure, because as I said, you're growing up, I think you're maturing. You might find that in this new section of your journey, the attraction offers you both home and double passion. It is a decision, but there are 2 wands on fire here. So whereas, baby, come and light my fire, this one's lit 2 fires within you. Lit 2 fires. Or you can light their fire and they light your, it's 2. There's a lot going on here, but there's definitely a decision to be made, because you're at a crossroads. I think you can stay as you are. You can move towards this, but also, in fact, there might be another option for a lot of you where it's not about a particular person or whatever, or going home, but you might be able to tweak that and find a new route for yourself. But you're definitely at very much a crossroads. And I believe absolutely in your love life. Some of you, it's about a particular person. Others of you, it's about who you want to be with, the kind of relationship you want. You're discovering what doesn't work for you and what you want to work for you, and that's a decision. What you want and what you don't want. But yeah, for some of you, because I do feel that there might be, what is it, a third party situation type thing, where you might have someone in your life and you like someone, and some of you are going to be thinking, maybe, you know, I should stay where I am, even though you might be, oh, something's just occurred to me. I wonder whether some of you have had lots of short-term relationships, but now you're ready to commit to the person that you're with, but you're not sure that they are ready for that commitment or want it. Whereas I would say that's where I'm getting it could be mutual. That's where I'm getting that from. It could be mutual if you are already with someone, but you're not sure if they are as serious about you as you are for them. You might, some of you, not all of you, remember it's so general, some of you might find that this person is interested. And I always say it's worth trying out anyway, because you'll always live with regret. Even if you think, oh, I made myself look such a fool, it's better to look a fool and know than to stay cool and detached and never find out. You know, it's a talking of regrets. You always regret the things you didn't do. Yeah. So yeah, somebody, there is a mutual thing there. Right, I've gone on enough about that. This is just a very interesting reading from my perspective. So those of you that chose this option, thank you very much for listening. I wish you all the best of luck with this. And whatever, if you're ready to find a home and start it, you can and you should. You will find deep happiness there and security in it. So yeah, please leave me a comment if it resonates with you and it makes sense to you. Please take very good care of yourself, and thank you very much for listening to my reading. Bye. Okay, those of you that chose option 3, here is your reading. These 3 cards represent the journey you have completed, what you've done, what's to be left behind, what you've outgrown, and what you actively know is no good for you anymore. So we've got the 6 of Pentacles, 3 of Swords, 10 of Wands. Okay, heavy burdens. This is probably financial concerns for a lot of people, because we've got the 6 of Pentacles. So some of you have really been juggling the finances, really trying to make sure everything's paid for and that you've got enough money to cover everything, pay the bills, feed and clothe yourself, and have the odd little treat. You know, money's been an issue, but you're leaving that behind, so that's lovely. And we've also got the 3 of Swords, which I repeat, you're also leaving behind, because there's been a lot of head over heart. Lots of words have touched your heart. For some of you, yes, this does represent heartbreak, but not exclusively. The 3 of Swords actually is just about mind over matter, mind over your heart, head over heart. About, like, if you're frightened of something, you know, fear comes from the heart, but we can all control our fear and say, I'm not allowing myself to be stopped, or this is silly, don't be so scared, everything's going to be fine, and you know, and you calm yourself down, and you know, you control your emotions, controlled emotions. So some of you have probably been quite frightened about your finances and have not said anything to anyone about it, even though in your heart you're probably beside yourself. Because we also have the 10 of Wands, which is a burden that needs to be shared. So some of you, if you're desperately worried about money, you might be coming to the point where you realise you need to talk to someone about it. If you're in quite a lot of debt, or you're not earning enough to cover your expenses, you might be coming to the realisation now is time to open up. For others of you, you're just now starting to realise that is coming to an end. Some of you are really paying off debt and getting that debt down, and so you're getting to the point of having more than you need. Some of you, I mean, the Six of Pentacles, this rich merchant has more than they need, so they offer charity to those in need. So I think this is more likely that you have been in need of charity. Whether you've received it or not, it doesn't matter, you've been in need of charity. So some of you might have been jobless. I mean, others of you might have been the one that's sort of given charity, but it's been too much of a burden to you, and you've not wanted to say that you can't, you know, I can't afford to support you anymore. Some of you have been supporting people that you shouldn't have, or you can't afford to support, and it's been really intensely traumatic to you, and you're coming to the realization that you need to cut them off. You need to say, I'm sorry, I can't give you this money anymore. Whether it's regularly supporting them financially, or even some of you might be employing this person and paying them a monthly wage, but you're sort of like, it's such a burden, you can't afford it, and now you've got to say, I'm sorry, I can't give you the money. You know, you've been helping them with their rent or buying them groceries and stuff like that. But now, you know, it's been hard for you, but now you're ready maybe to say that. But yeah, for others of you, it's definitely about balancing. Your finances have been unbalanced and need to be balanced, and it's been a trauma to you and a horrendous burden. So I'm hoping, you know, that in this next cycle, this is what's to be explored, what you can focus on, what you can take advantage of in this next cycle. And I'm hoping that it's, you know, you've left behind the 10 of Wands. The Wheel. So things are changing. Things are definitely changing. Empowerment. 5 of Bows. Hawk. Knight of Arrows. This is interesting. So yes, this is better because you are being empowered. I mean, empowerment is in the middle, but you are. The Wheel. Things are changing for you. And in this deck, somebody has woven this top. Somebody has come forward and stood probably in the water, weirdly enough, and they've woven a nice top for themselves, so they've manifested it themselves. So you can create change in your life, and I think you're going to. Maybe it's to do, sorry, I don't know if you can hear the scrabbling, but you know, it's my bunny rabbit in a box. So you can manifest the change you want. You might actively say to this person, I can't support you, or I need you to support me because I'm overburdened. And it doesn't actually have to be about finances. It can be about any relationship in your life. I'm just using that. There's an imbalance that's too much for you and you need to balance it out. And I think you're going to take action. So, and the Wheel of Fortune is always lovely to see because it implies that if you're at the bottom of the wheel, you're on your way up to the top. And I mean, even if you're at the top and you're on your way down, don't panic because you'll just be under for a little bit before you come back up again. It always turns. But I feel that you're on the upturn because of this empowerment. I know it's quite a graphic image of an erect willy, but anyway, you are going to be empowered. You are going to be, you know, rising up to the challenge and taking control and not being afraid of defeat. Even if there are defeats, it's not going to hold you back. It's just something that you're going to learn from it. You're going to conquer your demons. You're going to take control. You're going to push the wheel and get it moving. And we've also got the Hawk. You know, it's the Knight of Arrows, so it's the Knight of Swords. It's about moving forward with intention and paying attention. But also, I mean, in this particular deck, this cautions against following your anger, being too rash, holding a grudge, holding on to negativity. So if this does involve a particular person and money and whatever, let it go. Don't let it overwhelm you. You've supported them, you took on too much, but now it's over. Now you need to be clear-sighted, to be flying above it all, rising above it all, paying attention to what's going on around you. The hawk has to observe if it's to survive and get enough food. So yeah, paying attention to what's going on around you is important, but also controlling yourself, being a steady hunter. You know, if the hawk just lost its focus, it wouldn't be able to be an effective hunter and, you know, successfully feed itself. So that's what you need to do. But you will, because you're empowered. I think you're going to be really determined to complete something, to do something. I mean, this doesn't have a clear message of what it is. It just implies that you've been really overburdened, and emotionally and mentally, and in terms of your energy, that you've been too tired recently. And that's going to go. You're going to feel this rush of new energy and new drive to do things. And the only danger is to follow those passions so much that you sort of self-sabotage all your efforts. But there's going to be nothing holding you back now. You're really going to turn things around and change your life in whichever way you want. Love life, career, finances, generally in your mental attitude, in the way that you deal with things. You're really going to keep it moving, and all this sort of sense of burden is going to be gone, because you're just going to sort of say, right, forget this, and just throw the wands off your back. Pull the daggers out of your heart, and if they're useful words and thoughts that will hold you in good stead, yeah, you can keep hold of them. I mean, if these swords were, no, you can't do this, no, you shouldn't do that, you haven't got the money, that kind of life is not for someone like you. You know, all these negative doubts, you know, if those are the sword, pull them out, throw them away, you don't need them. You know, if it's a case of controlling your fears, that's good, because that's what you need to do in order to move on. But I think these are negative thoughts said by you, thought by you, or by someone around you, and you just need to get rid of them. But yeah, lots of negativity weighing you down, and now you're ready to say, no, I won't be held back. I won't be let myself down anymore. I'm going to make this thing happen. You're going to make something of yourself and for yourself. Empowerment. And just be watchful and fly above. You know, if this represents depression or anxiety or negative thought processes, you've got to rise above it and not fall into the trap of them. You can't fall into the trap of this Three of Swords energy. You have to stick to the empowerment. Yeah. You're coming out of something, and you've got to stay positive. Positive over negative. So, those of you that chose option 3, that is your reading. I hope that it's helped you. Please let me know in the comments section if it resonates, or you feel that there's some sort of advice that you can follow. I do wish you all the best of luck for the future in your new journey. Please take very good care of yourself, and thank you very much for listening. Bye!